Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is, what is it? February the 23rd, 2018. Strong hand. Long-term thinking. All right, I'm still here in Darwin, Australia. I went for my morning sprints this morning so I could be ready for this show. So all you people back in the East Coast of the United States could have a show at 6:30 p.m. at night. So enjoy it. We've got guests from all over the world. We've got Kenn, Bosak. We've got BTC Joe. And then we have a very special guest coming from Venezuela, which was like the heart of crypto this week. It is Maximo. And we're gonna start off with Maximo telling us about the Petro, about this Venezuelan cryptocurrency. Doesn't really exist yet. We've heard so much about this. I've talked about it. People are very curious about it. Maximo, just go at it. Tell us all about the Venezuelan Petro.
Okay, perfect. First, I'm going to start giving you some information so you can understand how the Petro thing is working out in Venezuela. Well, according to the white paper, the Petro is a token that is supposed to be backed by oil. But that is oil that the Venezuelan government have not taken off of the ground. It's oil that it is still on the ground, okay? That's important to know because, well, there is a process that the Venezuelan and the oil companies have to make to take that oil from the ground, and that is not easy. But it's back on oil but barrel oils that they don't exist yet. Well, they created 100 million petros. Okay, the distribution is supposed to be 38.4% for pre-sale that's supposed to start according to the white paper in March 1st. But I don't know what happened. They started earlier because the Venezuelan president said that they have raised like $700 million. So that doesn't make sense. The other 44% is going to be issued through an ICO. And the price of that ICO is going to be $60, which is close to the price of a barrel of oil. And the other 17.6% is going to be the superintendents of the cryptocurrency in Venezuela, which is the government entity that issued the Petro, is going to keep 17.6% of the supply for them. Okay, they are supposed to with the money they receive, according to the white paper, they're going to use it in this way. Okay, 50% in development of the technology, other 50% in development of the ecosystem, another 50% to the project, the Petro, and the other 55% is going to be for the Venezuelan funds that the government has created. So apparently it's going to stay in the country. That's according to a white paper again. Well, also according to the white paper, the Petro is supposed to be an ERC20 token, okay? But right now, we don't know exactly where the Petro is going to work because a couple of days ago, the Venezuelan president said that they were going to use the name blockchain and it was not going to be an ERC20 token. Instead, it was going to be a mosaic using the name blockchain. And we have a couple of addresses in the Ethereum blockchain, and I will send Adam all this information so you can check it by yourself, guys. There is a couple of addresses that has 100 million PTR tokens, and these tokens match the exact same distribution that is described in the white paper. Okay, but also there is another name address that has 100 million mosaic tokens with the name of PTR that also matches the same distribution described in the white paper. For non-official sources, they told me that these Mosaic tokens is from a troll. I don't know. That's what they say. There is not official statement from the government saying that, okay, this is the token, this is the address, or anything like that. So no one knows, really. No one knows who controls these addresses. No one knows where the real Petro is going to be built. No one knows if already exists or something like that, okay? So it's kind of tricky. The buying process of the Petro. Well, the government created a website where you have to register for you to buy the Petros. The website, well, it's really bad, okay? You have to wait like 6 hours for the confirmation email to arrive to your mail so you can start the registration process. After you receive the email, you start the registration process, and the websites that has not, the website do not have a security certificate, so that's make no sense at all, have a JavaScript bug that do not allow you to finish the registration process. So you have to try like 10 times. And if you're lucky enough, you can finish the registration process. But after that, the website freezes. And there is no, well, it's really hard. I tried, guys. I tried to complete the process so I can show you how to buy Petros, but it was impossible, okay? I spent 5 hours of my time trying to finish the registration process, but the website wasn't working. Well, there is some news. The president, Nicolas Maduro, after launching the cryptocurrency, he said that he had some meetings with 3 teams. He said he met with the NAM Foundation. He said he met with a team with a company called Aero Trading and another company called Zeus. Okay, a couple of hours after that announcement, the NAM Foundation publicly said through their Twitter account that was a lie, that they has.
Oh, wait. Oh, you there? Maximo.
The Venezuelan government shut him down, man.
Oh, man, he got shut down. Maximo, if you can hear us, man, this is some really good stuff you're telling us. As everyone can see. Yeah. No. Okay, good. You're here. Good. Pound that like button, everyone, if you're enjoying this.
This is hilarious, okay, guys? President Maduro says in the press conference that these 3 companies were 3 of the biggest and most respected companies in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry. And then I have never heard of Aero Trading or the Zeus team, and I have been involved in crypto for almost 3 years. So, and my work is completely related to the cryptocurrency world. So I went to Google and typed Aero Trading, and there is a lot of information in there, but nothing about cryptocurrency or a company related to cryptocurrency. So I have to do some more research, and I found out a Twitter account for this Aero Trading company, which is supposed to be one of the most biggest and respected company in the blockchain industry. And they have 3 tweets, just 3 tweets. And those 3 tweets were from February 21, 2018, 2 days ago.
That is, oh, he froze up again there. So what we've gathered so far is that the Venezuelan government is not telling the truth about many aspects of this. That they're as efficient as any government in the world. This is what happens when you're dealing with government. They don't understand this, and they're moving way too fast. And well, Maximo, you there? He fell off again there. All right, Ken, are you there?
Hey, how goes it, man?
Good. All right, as Maximo returns, Ken, what do you think about all this?
I'm actually a little concerned because I never really thought about being put in a position where I'd be forced to buy a cryptocurrency controlled by my government. And something like this sort of looks like a crystal ball of the future that we could see happen in a first world scenario. You know, this is a domino effect potentially. If we allow this to happen to them, it could potentially happen to us ourselves. We should stand together and protect these citizens from their own government that is forcing them to buy a shitcoin, essentially.
That's one question we got to ask him. They're not being forced to buy it. I mean,
not yet. But I mean, how far is that from down the line?
I don't know if they're even going to be I think they're going to be given it. It's the 80%ers of the world are going to be buying it on the exchanges, and he's just going to distribute it to free to his people. I'm not sure. That's why we got Maximo, and he just dropped off there. He'll be back. Oh God, he's leaving us in suspense. This is terrible. Everyone, pound that like button. Check out the notes section below because you can see all of these guys' information: Kenn's information, BTC Joe's information, and Maximo's information. And we're going to give links to those. It's very interesting that he said those Ethereum addresses existed. They are most likely bogus. Anyone can create a token called the Petro, and there's a good side of that and there's a bad side of that. The bad side is people can create a fake Petro. But if Venezuela really wanted to create a real Petro, it's that easy. I don't think they've done it yet. I bet those are trolls making it up there. All right, BTC Joe, do you have any thoughts on this situation before Maximo returns?
Yeah, I mean, like, should we really be surprised? I mean, this is what happens when you put governments in charge of making cryptocurrencies. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like they kind of threw everything together at the last minute. And it's kind of like a Frankenstein currency of sorts. And it's almost like the opposite of everything you would use a cryptocurrency for. It's, it's not open source. It's not, the point is to remove a counterparty. You're inserting a counterparty. And, it's very, vague and you don't really know what's going on. But I think, this is just a natural progression. We're going to start seeing a lot more countries doing this. And that's sort of going to be this will be like the transition into everyone using cryptocurrencies. So in the long run, I don't think it's a big deal, but I definitely would not want to be holding that cryptocurrency. The other thing is security. How can you really trust these? They're just going to throw together some developers. How can you really trust this thing?
Well, no, it is right now. The buying process it seems like it's totally BS. It's dangerous. It was a very unsafe process, but does it really even exist yet? Because he couldn't even get the buying process done. Well, he's back. Maximo, take it away. Take it away.
I had a question for you, Maximo. Aren't they also working on a gold-backed Petro as well? So, I mean, this hasn't even finished its conception, and they're already speaking about a totally new Petro backed by gold. Is that something you've come across?
You're muted, Maximo. They got you on mute or something like that. There you go. Nope. Can't hear you yet. Oh, dude.
They silenced the man.
Yeah, I mean, it's what he's saying. He's speaking the truth, and we can't hear the truth. Maximo, do you have it muted? We cannot hear you.
Do you know sign language?
Nope. Yeah. Mess around with it. Keep on talking. You just interrupt us whenever you want to. We'll guess. So there are other nations that are thinking about this also. We heard that Turkey is thinking about doing something like this. What I'm curious about is what is this? Has it really happened yet? And for what Maximo has told us, there is no Petro yet. But again, we'll get down to this in a second. So as Maximo figures out the sound again, as we wait in anticipation for this, he had just lost the power of his house for a bit. That's part of the issue here. We'll talk about with Kenn here the Bitcoin transaction fees to send Bitcoin. It's cheap again. Yes. What do you think about that?
It's exciting. I actually had to do a rather large transaction not too long ago to pay a little bit of rent. I had to sell some Bitcoin and get cash, and I moved a decent amount. It was like 20 freaking cents, and I actually double looked at it. I was like, wait, am I sending the lowest transaction fee like possible? Is this going to get lost? Oh, hey, right. How goes it? He's back.
Hey, Maximo. We heard you. All right, continue, Maximo.
Okay, sorry, guys. Yeah. Well, where I was. Okay, these two big companies are supposed to be one of the biggest companies.
Oh, wait a second. Wait, 1 second. By the way, you were cut off because you lost power, correct?
Yeah.
Who was in charge of the power in Venezuela?
The government.
Yes. Okay. Continue.
Wow.
Okay. So yesterday, the Venezuelan president claimed to have raised $7 million from selling these petros in the pre-sale. But if we check in the block explorer of the NEM blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain, there's still a couple of addresses who hold the most of the petros. So if he sold all that money in petros, why those guys who bought it don't have it yet in their accounts? So or they got scammed, or the president of Venezuela is lying, which is the most probably thing. So that's about it, guys. Answering your question, Kenneth, the Venezuelan president said yesterday that they were going to issue a new petro that is going to be backed by gold. Gold that they don't have in their hands. Gold that, is in Venezuelan territory that they have not found yet, but they will. And they will sell you a token back on that not real gold. Wow. So that is what is happening here.
Oh, that hurts my head.
All right, so Maximo, here are my questions for you. So it's pretty obvious that it's not really existing at this point, the petro. And if it does, people can't get their hands on it, that they've clearly rushed into this. But do you think it is going to exist? And will they distribute it to the people for free, or are the people going to have to buy
it? The people is going to have to buy it. Okay. Listen, guys, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. There is no difference. There is a couple of differences between the Bolivar, which is the currency of Venezuela, and the petro. And those differences are the name of the currency and the platform that the government uses to issue this currency. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's a centralized currency issued by the same guys who destroy our currency, that have been destroying our country for 18 years. So how can you expect this petro currency to be different than the Bolivar? Yeah, they tell us that the Bolivar is also backed by something, by oil, by gold, by natural gas. And we know that that is not true. The Bolivar lost value every day. Every day, the Venezuelan people who owns Bolivars, they are becoming poor. So it's a joke. It's just a way for the government to avoid the penalties and the sanctions that the U.S. government put on them a couple of months ago. And they don't have the ways to acquire U.S. dollars because of that penalties, and they come up with this stupid idea so they can have money. But I don't think it's going to help the people in Venezuela. I don't think it's going to help our economy, and they are going to force people to use the petro, just like any other government forces their citizens to use fiat. They're going to start paying the people who work for the government in petros, even if they like it or not. They're going to be paid in petros. They're going to start charging maybe taxes or their services in petros. So they will force the people to use this. And then they are going to tell you guys that the people is using it because it's the best thing in the world. But that is not going to be true. So
will people be able to exchange bolivars for petros though? Will they be able to do you think?
Well, I don't know really. In the future, we should be able to, if they want.
Think about it. this is one positive that I see. If you guys have your worthless bolivars and you're able to turn them into one bolivar for one petro, and then there's people all over the world that are foolishly buying the petro, you could, in the long run, turn your bolivar into a petro into Bitcoin, and that would be great for the people. So, I mean, I'm asking you: is there a way this could backfire on the government and help get people, well, at least teach people about cryptocurrency and maybe get some Bitcoin into the hands of the people?
Well, the only thing good about the petro is that what you just said, that it's going to teach people about cryptocurrency. If you haven't heard about cryptocurrency and now you're hearing about the petro, well, maybe you start learning about Bitcoin and all these amazing technologies. Right now, there is not a way to exchange bolivars to petros. Okay, that's one positive thing. If we are able to exchange bolivar to petros and then to Bitcoin, yeah, maybe that will help the Venezuelan population avoid hyperinflation in a much easier way. I don't think that is going to happen, because there is a reason why we have control on capital exchange, because the government wants to stay in control of what comes in and out of the country when it comes about money. So maybe if they do it, it will be a good thing. I don't know. They have not launched a platform yet where you can do that. But we will see in the future. Right now, this Petro thing is really a joke. It's a joke. And if someone tells you that this is going to help the country and that this is good and this is brilliant, there is two kind of people that does that. The people who know nothing about cryptocurrency and what it brings to the table, and the people who are working with the government. Okay, just two sides, guys.
Now there is a prominent person that's been on my show, and he said that he thought Venezuela was going to become a cryptocurrency hub, a cryptocurrency country. Do you see that happening, or was that just a way too positive outlook on this?
It's just, I hope, really, I wish the government, the Venezuelan country becomes like a crypto hub or a crypto nation. But if you want to help the people, then just adopt Bitcoin. You don't have to create your own useless token to become a national a cryptocurrency nation. You just have to adopt Bitcoin, the most and the most secure blockchain in the whole world. And don't mess around. Teach people about Bitcoin and help people get into Bitcoin, so we can, so the government can help the Venezuelan economy. But by creating this token, this worthless token, is not going to change anything. It's just another way for them to become richer and scam the people all around the world.
Well, we have had different opinions on this. From this is good. We're getting different voices. I linked to an article below, actually, that it's similar thoughts to what Maximo was saying, and questioning if this is really happening or not. I guess my final question for you before, we'll take questions from the audience also, and from the panel obviously has questions for Maximo also. Is it going, do you think they will get their act together and there will be real petros in existence in March?
Well, yes, I think they're going to create that cryptocurrency.
And will it be on Ethereum or NEM? Do you think it'll be on Ethereum or NEM?
I don't know really, because in the white paper, and to the people who is in charge of the Petro, I know a couple of guys who work for the government building this stuff. It's supposed to be an ERC20 token. It's supposed to be an ERC20 token. But the president was talking about NEM and all these mosaics tokens, but I really don't know which sort to trust. It's a mess. It's completely a mess. No one knows anything, so we'll just have to wait.
Okay, we get a question from the audience here. They did say they are mining other coins well. Is it true that they are confiscating miners for this purpose? And that's from Gus Diaz Thanks for the $5, Gus. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Okay. Well, okay, that they created like an organism where Venezuelan miners can go and register, and then pay a special tax under the crypto gates for mining. Okay. I know some people that register on that government institution, and then the government police went to their place and stole their machines and their bitcoins. So that is really happening. Like I told you before in the last show, Adam, I don't know if it is the government directly, like the president or the vice president giving these orders, or if it is the police that have access to this information, and just because they can, they go to your house, knock your door down, and stole your machines and your bitcoins. But it is really happening. And yes, the government, like 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, they created a cryptocurrency farm where they are mining with mining rigs and Bitcoin ASICs. And it's a government fund.
So that money isn't being used for anybody in the country at all. It's just for the government officials to use for like Lambos.
Yeah, exactly that.
That's a shame.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's what corrupt governments are all about. And hey, we got to give them credit. They know what the real money is. They understand that this cryptocurrency is the way to go.
How can you trust this? How can you trust this guy? They have been screwing my country for 18 years. How can you expect these guys to do something right at this point? How can you trust these guys? It's the same entity that throw the Bolivar to the garbage. And now they're creating this Petro just because they messed up, and the US government put some penalties on them, and they want to avoid those restrictions. That's why they create this, not because they want to help the people. So if you support the Petro, either you know nothing about cryptocurrency, or you're working with them. There is no positive side of this.
Well, I think again, if they allow the people to turn, and you say you're not going to do this, if they allow the people to turn their bolivars into petros, and then you're able to sell your petro for Bitcoin, it will backfire on them. I mean, the reason I am interested in all of this is because I want it to backfire on the government. I know what their short-term thinking is. Their short-term thinking is greed. But in the long term, I hope it can totally backfire on them. But again, they don't seem to have their act together at all to even get it to the point where people are going to be able to buy the Bolivar for the Petro. But I don't know. I'm grateful to have you on the show. Keep going. Sorry.
No. I think that I don't know if BTC Joe have any questions.
Yeah, BTC Joe, you got questions?
No questions. It just sounds like it's like a big abstraction, basically, to try and recreate the old Bolivar. Just like add some buzzwords, and then you can get around sanctions and have the same thing you had, basically. Almost like we saw like Kodak, did an ICO, and then their stock price went up because why? Just because they threw in some buzzwords. So this sounds like almost like, I don't know, another form of that, except with the country instead.
Yeah, it's a gimmick. You got that right. So far, it is just a gimmick, just like Kodak did a gimmick, except Kodak really, well, did they have an ICO? We don't even know if these guys even had a real ICO.
Right,
yeah.
You get the point.
yeah. Ken, questions?
No, I just wanted to maybe leave a comment about this. It sounds, I had a guest on my show a couple days ago that was talking about how scenarios like this sort of sound like those industrial cities or camps where people go to get a job digging in a coal mine, but they're basically like indentured servitude, where they get paid in the company's local monopoly money, and the company uses that monopoly money to charge them for rent and then to charge them for goods and services. So you're digging in a mine for coal or whatever, gold, that's your job. You live in this town that's owned by the company creates its currency that you use in the town, and you're stuck in a position where you save up all this currency that's only valuable in that little company's town to a point where you can never leave. Because like you said, you could trade that petro for Bitcoin, Adam, but who's going to buy that petro with their Bitcoin? So it's
80,
like,
well, that's the 80%ers of the world. They will.
Right, but then somebody falls into a victim space, either by their own, idiocracy or because they're manipulated to. So it's always that, passing the puck, so to speak. Somebody's going to get screwed by this.
But if it's some 80%er in the United States, I mean, they're not being forced to buy this stuff. It's their own
we're
fault.
distributing the wealth globally evenly. Yeah. No, I feel I'm just thinking of that, like that position where it could turn into that for like you were saying, Kodak did it. Well, imagine if a business like Coca-Cola decides to pay their employees in Coca-Cola coin in Indonesia or wherever, and now these employees are basically not making real money at all. They're getting Coca-Cola coins and stuff like that. So I'm worried about the future of this technology being used against us.
No, but again, under that scenario, if an Asian exchange lists Coca-Cola coin, they're going to be 80%ers in this world who foolishly buy it for Bitcoin. So it will backfire. It will allow the people to get. You see that's why I'm intrigued by all this, because you think it's a closed loop system, but it isn't. Well, it isn't closed. If it's placed on an exchange where the 80%ers can make mistakes and buy it. I don't want the people of Venezuela to waste their dollars or Bitcoin on a petro. But if people all over the world want to do it, then be my guest and give these people a market to turn their worthless petro into real Bitcoin, so they can get the heck out of Venezuela. And so, I mean, that leads me to my final question for Maximo. Is there potential for another country to do this right?
Well, no. You gotta understand something. The only thing that country can do right is if they adopt Bitcoin, or they adopt maybe other cryptocurrency that is completely decentralized.
Okay, yeah.
Because if they issue a token, it's not different from fiat money. The thing that cryptocurrency brings to the table, and what I teach people is that it's not the digital part of the currency what is innovative in this technology. Here in Venezuela, we don't have cash. We are a cashless society. We only use cash to pay for parking spot and for gas. That's it. And we only have digital money. So that's not the innovative part of this technology. The innovative part of this technology is the decentralized part, the global part, that anyone can use a system that is not corrupt, that is based on math and cryptography, that is completely decentralized and that no one can manipulate. And no government will be able to issue a system like Bitcoin. They won't, because then they will stop being a government. They will stop being in control of something. So that won't happen. I don't see that happen anytime soon.
Very, very good point. Very good point about that. That's the way for a government to successfully do it. They're going to need to do it with an existing decentralized cryptocurrency, and they will never do over the purse, over finances. So. Yeah.
Can I just jump in for a sec, Adam?
Oh, yeah, please.
I think like the best case scenario of a country doing this right, it wouldn't be like, replacing the existing currency. It would be almost like say the U.S. did some type of a Fed coin. The successful version would be like a tether, condoned by the central bank that is not going to get shut down. Just like an easier way to transition into crypto, because everyone's worried that the feds are gonna, shut down Tether. So I think if they did it that way, that's like probably the only scenario I would support.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was hoping that it could be. But
right.
Yeah.
I actually was talking to a friend yesterday, and he came up with the exact same idea that BTC Joe just shared with us. That if the Venezuelan government wants to help their people, they should create a Bolivar tether, so we can avoid all these bank limit transfer controls. Because when you are in a hyperinflationary country, to one month to another, the money, the limit transfer of the money is just ridiculous, because it's just a little amount of money that you can transfer between banks. So if you create a Bolivar tether that is nothing illegal, and it's a kind of a blockchain that you can use, and you can say that you are using blockchain technology to help people in Venezuela, maybe that will be useful, because it's a better way for us to transact inside the country.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. And then people from outside the country will buy it also, foolishly, but it will add wealth to your country. It will bring it in. So I mean, that's what I was hoping, that they were going to have it be 1-for-1. A Bolivar. If you hand them a paper Bolivar, they'll hand you back a electronic Petro. But that doesn't appear to be the case. Maybe it will, but hey, man, we'll see. We'll see. I'm again. Let's see how this continues to play out. And this has been a really unique experience. Telling us all that. Is there, before we move on, what's everyone's reaction in the Bitcoin community where you are to the low transaction fees? Is there anything else you wanted to add about the Petro and or BTC Joe or Ken, if you had anything else to say about it? Anyone?
I've been using Bitcoin a hell of a lot more since those transaction fees went down. I was staring at my my account for a while, sitting there like, I got all this crypto, but I can't really do not much with it because it's expensive to move. And like I said, recently I had to move a decent amount to pay my rent, and the transaction fee was like 20 cents. So as I was saying, I was taken back. I went and checked my settings and made sure that I wasn't on the smallest fee possible. No, I was on the highest fee possible. It was 20 cents. And I think within like 10 or 15 minutes, all 6 confirmations went by, and the person I sent it to had full access to the Bitcoin. It was awesome. So I actually recently used Cheap Air to buy my flight to Dallas, Texas for the conference I went to in Texas. Bitcoin directly, they accepted Bitcoin, and the fee was, again, like a couple cents. And I'm actually booking a trip soon to go back to the Bahamas, and Expedia accepts Bitcoin directly. So I won't have to like do any cashing out. I can actually send my Bitcoin directly to Expedia without having to worry about like a high fee. And I'm imagining more people will be using their crypto again. I know we're long-term holders, but when you're in as much as I'm in, there's only so much I can do without actually having to spend some of it. So if I want to get eggs, bread, and milk, I have to let go of my crypto. And now I can do it again for a very inexpensive fee. So it's interesting to see a lot of my friends arguing that alternative currencies are better than Bitcoin because of the fee. And then that flip-flops a little bit, and their argument gets taken right out from under their feet. And they have to kind of learn the technology to argue why their coin is better than Bitcoin, not just because it was a cheaper transaction fee for like a month. It's pretty damn interesting.
Strong hand, people. Yes, have a strong hand. Remember, everyone, we got over 100 viewers right now, which is great. You get this unique information only here. So I want all of you to take a moment and really pound that like button. Subscribe to this channel and check out the links below. Check out these dudes. See what they're doing out there. Maximo, what has your reaction, or what has the reaction of Venezuela been to the lower transaction fees? Because transaction fees mean a lot in a country like Venezuela.
Yeah, actually, there were a lot of people complaining about transaction fees a couple of months ago. Now, everybody's happy, obviously. You can sell Bitcoins for 1 cent. Yeah, I was trying to explain to them that was temporarily, that Bitcoin, that we will have in the future cheaper transaction fees, that they will just have to wait, hold their Bitcoin, which is nothing crazy. It's better if you hold your Bitcoin than if you sell it right away. and I was teaching to people how to make their transaction efficient. There is a lot of cryptocurrency mining in here, and what people do not understand is that you have to learn the technology. That's something beautiful about Bitcoin that we have never seen with money before, that it forces you to learn. Actually, when it comes to fiat money, the governments do not want you to learn about money. In Bitcoin, you have to learn, because if you don't do it, then you lose money. And I was teaching all these people how they can make transactions in a better way, that they have to use as a Segwit wallet, that they got to switch from this old wallet that they don't have Segwit yet to a new wallet that has Segwit, so they can have cheaper transactions, that they have to consolidate the inputs, because if they leave the mining reward without consolidating, then when they are going to send the Bitcoins, well, the transaction is going to be very, very, like I explained today, like very heavy. So it's going to charge you more, because it's going to take more block space, and miners, well, they are here because of business. So if you take more block space, well, the transaction fee is expensive. But well, those clients of mine now, everyone is happy because of the transaction fees, and it's a good thing, because now the argument of the big blockers about Bcash and all these altcoins being better because they were cheaper to transact with, well, that's I don't know what else they're going to say. Now they're going to say that Bitcoin transaction fees are cheaper because no one is using it.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
No, it's back to the same exact use as it was right before it spiked to 19,000. The same amount of users, and we got people like Coinbase, Bitfinex, even Shapeshift. Everybody's going Lightning, or I'm sorry, Segwit. And then we have things like batched transactions coming, and Lightning network and channels. It's only going to get faster and cheaper to start using Bitcoin. And people want Bitcoin to be the fiber optic speed that the internet is today, when Bitcoin is 56K dial-up, and we're working our way towards VR 360 videos with Netflix. Netflix cannot launch on the internet in the early 90s. Bitcoin is early 90s. Wait till we have fiber optic speeds on Bitcoin and build on top of that.
Yeah, that's what I tell people every day.
BTC Joe, your thoughts on the low transaction fees?
I think, it's great. We're seeing exchanges start to do batching, like you guys mentioned. Segwit is coming to Bitfinex and Coinbase, and you're just seeing all these scaling improvements like sort of kick in. And I just think it's so funny that like the Bcash crowd is like, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like first they're saying the fees are too high, and now it's like, oh, no one uses it, so the fees are too low, which is like ridiculous. I mean, the truth is, it's all cryptocurrencies are mostly speculation. Any coin that you think is going to have cheaper transactions would have the same exact problems if people actually started using it. And I just think also a big part of it was they were spamming the network as well. So you don't hear about that as much. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, the spamming has stopped for now.
Right.
All right.
Now, yeah.
Yes.
For now.
You never know what is going to be next. Now, BTC Joe, remember, you got to speak up a little bit, because you're a little quiet there in your land. I want to transition the conversation a little bit. People have been asking me about the various crypto dividends that are on the way. We've got on the 28th of February, Bprivate is going. There's going to be a snapshot of the Z Classic and Bitcoin blockchains, and people will be able to get this new crypto dividend fork coin friendly fork called Bprivate. And then Monero is forking on the 14th of March into something called Monero V. Have you heard about these? What are your thoughts on Bprivate and Monero V? And from where you stand, because you've got a pretty popular Twitter feed, are people talking about these things? Are you getting questioned about these forks, these crypto dividends that are on the way? BTC Joe.
Oh, I thought you were talking to someone else. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Speak up.
I mean,
Speak up.
yeah. So I haven't looked into Bprivate that much, or Monero V, but I kind of just like I have the same viewpoint on all of these forks. You know, I have mixed feelings. Like it's good. Everyone should have the right to fork off if you disagree, and it creates competition. And there's nothing bad about competition. That's great. It's just that, you know, all these coins are essentially they're vying for attention. So it's like, you know, am I going to support, as a Monero holder, am I going to support Monero V being added to exchanges and Ledger, adding it and all that? I mean, not really, because essentially those things will give it value. Like you say, like the 80%ers, like if they see it on an exchange, they're just going to buy it, and they're going to be left holding the bag. I mean, I guess like you know, if they do add it, then it gives me a way to sell it, which is good. But it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing, because do you even want to give it value in the first place? So I don't know. I mean, I think like I'm a sound money guy, and I think digital scarcity is, you know, a huge part of cryptocurrencies. And it's great that anyone can create their own money, but it's also great that you don't have to accept anyone else's money as well. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to be the guy that's pushing for all these forks to be added to compete with the coins that I own. I mean, I think if there's like, this is not the result of, you know, years of fighting. Like even like Bcash, as much as I hate on it, there was definitely a big community that has been fighting for years, and that was like the reason for the fork. With like Litecoin Cash and Monero V and all this stuff, it's almost like a foregone conclusion. Like this is kind of like a phase. Like every big coin is going to be forked. You could have anticipated that. You know, it's great, like they can fork off, but I'm just not sure there's like a huge community that is like, you know, had this huge scaling debate for all these altcoins that are like trying to get these forks created. So
all right,
I don't know.
Talking about the size of the potential communities is a very interesting point. And Christopher Gilliard over in the chat, he sent $10 in the super chat. Thank you very much. He says, Adam, I saw Rhett C speak on Wednesday night at a San Francisco developers meetup. Takeaways: overwhelming volunteer support, 0.5 Bprivate block reward, difficulty bomb to enforce future reward schedule, much interest. Well, thank you for the $10, Christopher, and thank you for pointing that out. These Bprivate people, led by Rhett, really have taken it to a new level in terms of marketing and building up a community before this happens. What I am concerned about is that many people are keeping their Z Classic on exchanges, particularly Bittrex. And so Bittrex has not made a statement yet if they're going to support the fork. Yet there are a lot of people out there who think it's just a foregone conclusion that they're going to support the fork. I think that Bittrex is going to play a tremendous role in the future value of this coin if they do this. So hopefully they're going to split it. We've got 4 days now, or 5 days until this happens. So this is going to be a very interesting 5 days. I've been saying this is the biggest Bitcoin fork, the biggest Bitcoin crypto dividend since B Gold. But if no exchange is going to split it, if Trezor or Ledger Nano isn't going to accommodate it, then I guess it really isn't. So hopefully it seems like these guys have built a gigantic community, and they can't talk about what they're doing because there's all these rules and regulations. They don't want to get sued. So I'm patient. I'm a very patient man. We got 5 days here. So this is going to be quite an adventure and quite interesting to see how it turns out. They have a value proposition, and that is privacy. So I mean, that's my update thoughts on it. Kenn, any thoughts on Monero V? Any thoughts on a Bprivate or any of this Are you getting asked about this stuff too? People ask you about this.
I get asked a different side of the questions. A lot of people come to me for investment advice, and I'm like, I don't know why you do that. You do see my YouTube channel, right? You know who I am. But as from my investment personality, my split personality, I do look at it like it seems like a Z Classic pump. You know, you get 10-to-1 for your Z Classic or 1-to-1 for your Bitcoin. So why would I?
It's 1-to-1 for both. It's 1-to-1 for both.
Oh, I thought I'm sorry. I heard. Oh, no, never mind. It's cheaper. So you could get like 10-to-1. I'm sorry. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So it's much cheaper to buy. Yeah, thank you. So it's much cheaper to buy Z Classic. So you can get about like a 10-to-1 for BTCP. So it's almost like pumping Z Classic in the sense of, why would you buy 1 Bitcoin when you could buy tens of Z Classic and you'll get more of this BTCP? And another thing is, we already have a private Bitcoin. It's called Bitcoin Dark. It's out there. It's on the exchange. It's listed. It's used. You know,
you don't get
funny.
it for free. But you don't.
No, you're right. You won't get it for free. But you're not. It's not just incentivized for Bitcoin holders, which I'm sure kind of ticks you off. It ticks me off. I don't see why it had to be a hybrid fork where it kind of, to me, is giving Z Classic too much unloved attention or undeserved attention, and Bitcoin kind of gets pushed in the side because, oh, its price is too high. You can't get as many 1-to-1 ratio for your dollar value. And I feel like people might get burnt trying to trade on this, because the people come to me and are like, look, I'm buying a bunch of Z Classic just because I'm going to get more BTCP from holding more Z Classic for my dollar value. Be careful, because if it were to tank overnight after that fork, I think you'd be better off having that value in Bitcoin. So just be careful trying to bet on this.
Well, the Z Classic, that's the thing. The Z Classic will go down in value after the fork by an incredible amount. But the point is are the people that are holding it at Bittrex, they'll get, if they split them over there, the people will get bailed out. They'll get their Bprivate, and it'll make up for the loss in terms of Z Classic. But if they don't, then they're in a bad shape. So I mean,
yeah, good point. It's a bad bet.
There's a lot to look into with this, and it's a developing situation. And again, it is centralized. The reason they did the combination with Z Classic is because Rhett has dealt with, well, he was the creator of Z Classic. And so, and it makes it's unique that it's a double fork. This is the first double fork. So, I mean, it's a gimmick too, but it is centralized. So in this situation, the people who are holding the Z Classic better hope that the central planners of Bprivate have everything together. And if they do, it's going to end up pretty good for the
well,
Z
yeah,
Classic.
I mean, imagine the people behind the curtain know what's up. They could dump their Z Classic before the non-event.
But if Bittrex, still, again, if you control your own, this is worth repeating. If you control your own Z Classic private key, you're getting the Bprivate.
Get them off the exchange, guys.
You're getting the Bprivate. If you're not guaranteed, if you're holding it at Bittrex has not said anything yet, so you're guaranteed nothing yet. Okay, Maximo, any thoughts on forks or anything like that?
Yeah. First, Red is a pump and dumper. Okay, he started in the Zcash team. Then he created Z Classic. Then he created Zencash. Then he started working with Roger Ver in the Bitcoin Cash community. And now he I don't know, maybe he thought it was a good idea to make another pump and dump, and he created Bprivate. About forks, guys, like if something make money, people is going to keep doing it until it doesn't. Okay, so forks make money, and people are going to start to be creating forks. I think that the next big debate on the Bitcoin community is going to be about privacy. A year ago, it was that Bitcoin was too expensive, and people were buying these little coins that were worth nothing. Then the high fee transaction problem, and people start buying these coins that were cheaper to transact. And now we're going to have a debate about the Bitcoin privacy, and that's why the privacy coins maybe are forking right now. They're creating a fork of Monero. They're creating a fork of Z Classic, and we will see much more forks in the future. I don't have a problem with that. It's free money. I actually had a bunch of seed classic coins because I mined them a long time ago when the fork was created, and I sold them when the price get to $120. I rather take that profit than wait for them to make this fork and wait for Bittrex to list it in the exchange. It's just stupid. And that, guys, if you don't hold your private keys, you don't hold your money. So move your coins out of an exchange and wait for Bittrex to list Bprivate, and then you sell your coins. But don't leave it in there because the price of Z Classic is going to drop as like a rock after February 28th. So be careful with that, okay? And yeah, I don't know, man. These forks can be, if they make money, man, people is going to still be doing it, and I don't have a problem with that. It's free money. I can use it to buy more Bitcoin, and that's great.
I think your point about privacy being the next big thing, yeah, definitely. That's I mean, we obviously see it going in this direction with people forking privacy coins, but at the same time, I mean, the talk in the ecosystem is about, hey, let's make Bitcoin, let's put a privacy layer on top of Bitcoin. So that should be a trend. And people say the Lightning Network can make it more private. I'm no expert in that type of thing. What else? Okay, we're getting to the end of the show here. We've been talking for, wow, this has been a great show, everybody. But pound that like button. This is really a unique one. All of you are rocking it. BTC Joe, give us your conclusionary thoughts and anything that we left out, anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, sure. I just think it's, regardless of what you think about the Bolivar, Petro and that experiment and all that, I think that this represents a shift that we're starting to see where all these countries, there's going to be a Russian ruble one, I think. I saw Turkey. There was like rumors about the yuans and things like that. And I think while, none of us are really going to support these currencies because they're not, they're kind of like the antithesis of cryptocurrency and what it stands for. I think it is a very good thing in the grand scheme of things because I think that, people talk about hyper Bitcoinization and all that. And I don't think that can happen overnight. I think this will be like the transition stage, is that all countries will start these projects and, then they can compete. And in the long run, it just allows all the value to flow into Bitcoin and crypto. And it'll just be sort of like the transition stage.
Okay, very good conclusionary thoughts there. Ken, how about you? Tell us that story about the high school. That's a good one.
All right. Yeah. So I came prepared. Adam hit me up to come on the show. So I did some research, did my homework, and I found a local story that just came out this week. All right. So I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in New Jersey. And local to me, there is a high school called Union Catholic. There is a 28-year-old teacher who goes by the name of Tim Briza, and he's a business teacher. He just got a confirmation from the Board of Education, the parents, the teachers, the students. There's an official cryptocurrency blockchain course inside this high school. It is the official first high school in the United States to have an actual course designed to teach high school students about cryptocurrencies, blockchain technologies, and distributed ledger use cases. It's mind-blowing to see that we saw last year colleges going this route and universities, and more college students going from the traditional business sector to the cryptocurrency sector, where they're trying to learn about this and get ahead of the curve. And now we have this happening in high schools where the teacher's my age, and he already had one student from last year, 2016 or 17 into 2018, who invested in cryptocurrencies. And this student sold around $19,000 when Bitcoin peaked. And this At the time, they were a junior in high school, now a senior in high school. This guy's student opened his own clothing line store with the funds from Bitcoin to sell merchandise to his peers for cryptocurrencies. Like, seriously, if this isn't the mainstream adoption we have all been waiting for, it's going to happen with the youth. And this is where I'm seeing it firsthand. I'm going to try to attend the high school and see if I can speak with the teacher himself and maybe do an interview and maybe catch up with one or two of these students, because these are 18, 17-year-old kids who are growing up with this technology. You know, you hand an iPad to a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old doesn't know how to use an iPad, but by the time they're 6, they're better at it than the 30-year-old parent that handed it to them. This is the technology we're handing off to the youth, and they're going to use this in a mindset that we cannot fathom. If you were to hand this technology to a 30-year-old, we wouldn't have the same thought process of utilizing it as a child. This is where we're going to see things come out like beyond crypto kitties. Nobody saw that coming. You know, nobody's going to see the things that these high school kids are going to do with this technology. I'm excited to see that, you know, high schools, you know, people that are, you know, the literal foundation of our economy being taught this. And like we were talking earlier, when you start to learn about Bitcoin, you are forced to learn about fiat. You're forced to learn about banking. You're forced to learn about money. And these are the things that they don't really teach in high school. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see this one high school be the catalyst for this course. And every other high school is going to want to compete for this attention. You're not going to want to be the high school that dropped the ball here. You're going to want to be the part of the high schools that literally found and made sure that your students got the best education possible for the future. And this is where it's going to be. Parents are going to want to send their kids to school to learn about fiat. They're going to want to send their kids to a school that's going to teach them about crypto. So New Jersey's got it. We're the first in the country to offer this to high schoolers. So, I mean, guys, get ready for that mainstream adoption we've been waiting for all these years.
Dude, I like the spark of entrepreneurship that's in that story too, man.
Yeah.
These kids, they put them in motion, man. It got, you know, there's so many people grown-ups that ask me, oh, how do I start my own business? Now we got kids doing it, teaching each other.
He's still in high school, by the way. So he's still in his senior year with his own business selling clothing lines to his peers for cryptocurrencies. He's already got the business of the future.
Yeah, that's better than being in school, better than going to college and starting your own business in high school. That's a great story. That is just a great story. All right, Maximo, I'm going to let you tie it all up. What do you want to add here? Anything that was left out? You want to talk about a little Venezuela? Anything you got to say? The floor is yours, man.
Well, thank you for having me, Adam. I really had a fun time here. Man, this is just the beginning, really. Mainstream adoption is coming. We are going to change the world. This is going to be the currency of the future, because we, the young people, are the future. And we are tired of this fiat currency and manipulation and government and bankruptcy and corruption. And we're going to change that with Bitcoin. And it's already happening. Here in Venezuela, really, I like to say that it's already mainstream. Everyone is talking about Bitcoin. Everyone is buying a Bitcoin miner so they can make a living here in Venezuela. Bitcoin is something that is changing the economy of my country. So that's something that you have to be bullish on it. And don't look at the price. Don't be that guy who buys Bitcoin thinking that he's going to be rich in 2 weeks. Buy Bitcoin because it will give you the opportunity to be free in the future. To be free. That's more important than money, okay? You won't be depending on a country. You won't be depending on a central bank. You won't be depending on the bank you use or your city. You will have Bitcoin and you will be able to do with that money whatever the hell you want, and you will be completely free. That's the main goal. That's why we are here. That's what we're working for. So thank you all you guys for all the work you do, and let's keep growing the community, and let's take Bitcoin to the moon, man.
To the moon. Great conclusion. I want to thank all of my guests for coming on today. It was a rockin', legendary international show. So everyone, please spread the word about it by pounding the like button, share this video. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel. Also, we do This Week at Bitcoin every Friday even when it's Saturday morning here in
Did we lose Adam?
I think so.
and check out these links. Now, everyone, we will see you next week on the show. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. I'll say hi to the chat real quick. Bye-bye.
Have a day.
All right.
Take it easy,
Good.
guys.